If we fall for the fallacy of white male victimhood, you can begin to see the appeal of the extreme right's hypermasculine facade. I would argue that it's a superficial facade, a harmful facade, an impossible facade, but that hasn't stopped millions of people, men and women, from endorsing it. This version of manhood, while it contains a few kernels of positive notions of masculinity, remains a caricature. Its fixation on strength may imply an ability to protect others, but this strength is directed towards control and intimidation, even bullying. It falls far short of an ideal of masculinity that is more healthy. That is an ideal built on principles of doing no harm and caring for and protecting others. The hyper-masculine character of maleness on the right draws in men who, without the benefit of introspection and a diverse community around them, are clinging to an archaic notion of masculinity, even while society, or parts of society, progress away from it. It's weird, right? Donald Trump is an example of some of the contradictions in this model, even while its popularity persists. Trump is a draft dodger. He doesn't come across as someone who's ever done any manual labor or who has any athletic achievements to his name. He's also a teetotaler. He doesn't drink, never used drugs, as a result of seeing his brother die of alcoholism. So labor, athleticism, use of drugs and alcohol, these have often been markers of masculinity for good and ill. But Trump checks off other boxes of hyper-masculinity. He's rich, often taken as a sign of established dominance and ability to provide masculinity. Trump is a compulsive womanizer. Sexual conquests are often tied to an archaic view of masculine identity. Trump also says and does things that offend people and simply doesn't care. This lack of empathy and consideration of others comes off to some people as manly. So does his treatment of women. This is the impossible form of masculinity. Impossible because if all men did it, society would break down. But some men and women buy into it, partly because it's all they know, partly because the alternative is scary, challenging, uncomfortable, destabilizing to our identities. And we as people will go to great lengths to avoid discomfort. But imagine if we reframe the strength of masculinity to be a man who can lean into emotional discomfort, in the same way we depict men leaning into physical discomfort. What if we imagined a man as someone who can sit with a friend or a partner, male or female, who's experiencing pain and not try to fix them, just sit in all the discomfort that comes with brokenness. To try out new roles of being a provider, not just in a material sense, but providing emotional space, comfort, companionship. Men's inability to try on these new roles is why we're seen as a liability. Liability to potential female partners who are turning away from dating and marriage because while women are evolving in their development, many men are getting left behind. And so we retreat into video games, porns, and corners of the manosphere where we soothe one another. And we men tell ourselves that the problem is women, not men. But there are different ways of being. Learning to sit with our emotions, learning how not to be fixers, but just hold space. These are some of the different ways of being that can be useful to us moving forward in the direction society is going. More soon. In the meantime, do no harm, care for, and protect others. And if you like what I have to say, check out my books, tedneilauthor.com, or wherever books are sold online.